Okay, it's Sunday, which is third day of the fifth lockdown here in Melbourne in July 2021. And because I'm a little bored, I'm not too bored, I've just come back from a 5-kilometre walk to North Richmond and back to get some stuff for when I go away camping and prospecting next, which on advice from someone at Camp 3 up at Creswick State Park, is a good spot to maybe go and use my new metal detector. So I'm going to try and get up there next weekend if they don't continue lockdown. But in between, here's a homemade gold pan that, just with the idea being build a better mousetrap, I constructed a couple of weeks ago, and I did take it away with me. But the problem was I used it at the end of a 4-day outing and I already had a little bit of a sore back and there were other problems. But the theory remains sound. So I'm just going to lean back a bit because I should have been marginally more organised. I want to grab what are 2 channels of plastic profile you can buy from Bunnings. There's my cactus in the backyard that actually I found on Hoddle Street, and it was out of a pipe just sitting there bare rooted, and I planted it, and here we are a couple of years later. It even grows flowers to try and propagate. Okay, so what we have here is we have FrankenPan, which I kind of had fun trying to design. As I said, just for keep the brain ticking over as much as anything. But I'm going to go through it with you and also explain why it wasn't so good for wet gold panning. But it might be alright for dry gold panning. So here we go. In the top, as you can see, to classify, I've drilled a number of holes. And this, has it still got the price on it? Yeah, dirt cheap. $3.50 if you can read that. I think you can. A planter box from the cheap $2 shop in Smith Street. So what we've got here is we have a hacksaw blade screwed in at 2 points with 2 ceramic magnets, with the theory being that as you classify your material, some of the black sand, the heavier stuff, doesn't go into the lower section down here. So we grab a bit, and as you can see, there is heavier black sand ore-based materials on the magnets. I haven't cleaned it from when I last used it. So the idea is you go like that, collect some of the black sand, classify the material down into the bottom box. Now this is where it gets interesting, because FrankenPan, which I discovered on a recent trip to Transylvania. I found it in the cellar of an old castle next to a whole lot of unprocessed gold pay dirt. Quite amazing, really. But alright, maybe I'm lying. Okay, so what happens here is that the material, because the classifier's at this end, not here, the classifier, most of the material will end up in this section of the pan. And then what we do is we shake it down, we lift the pan on an angle and we shake it down into this corner, in the knowledge that the heavier materials are going to gather in that corner. Now this is where it gets interesting. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it does. Okay, where am I? They're in my pocket. Where are the little channels I was going to say? So I'm going to just hold this up in front of you, and I'll put the other one down. Now I've got 2 little bits of channel in my hand, and what I'll do is I'll put one back in my pocket, but this bit here gives a look. Let's point it up towards the oh boy, point it up towards the sky to give you a better idea. So there you go. So we've got like it's like a W type of thing, but I put it on its side and I turn it around facing the back end of the bottom section of FrankenPan. So as you should be able to see, yeah, there you go. You've got like a little U section, a U-shaped section that when facing to the back, material will catch up in there. And I cut off this bit here. just so you could have a flow over effect. And I'll show you what I mean with this other little section. Just dicking around in my pocket to get it, and here we go here. Let's see. Okay, that's better. So, holding this up, yeah, so you've got a section at the top where the material goes over and breaks up a little bit. Then you've got a section here where it catches. And being the heavier stuff, it should stay there until washed out when you're ready to further classify, if we want to use that term, the material. So, give us all. So what we have is, we've got 4 channels of what are U-shaped channels with the little lips on them. You can see I've put a few cuts in it just to break things up as it all goes into the corner. The pan at that point, after shaking it around a bit and getting all the heavies into the bottom bit, into the U-shaped channels that are facing towards the back, yeah, with the materials there. So what you've got now is you've got your materials in there, the heavier stuff, keeping in mind you've taken away some of the black sand with the magnets, and at this point we have the channels are full of, oh, hopefully a little bit of gold, but here's the good bit. So then we tilt it back the other way, and the excess material, the lighter stuff, runs downwards. And because these channels go on a right angle, you can literally get FrankenPan on a right angle and not lose anything. So as you can see, I'm standing it up vertical, and the channels are vertical, but you're not going to lose any material because, oh, hang on, I'll just get my foot there, because as you can see, these are going vertical. So all the heavier stuff has fallen into here, and it won't fall out because we're at right angles. And that allows you to get rid of the stuff that drops down the bottom here, either with a sponge, splashing it into a bit of water to move it on. And then we turn FrankenPan up the other way, which then allows for the materials to drop out of the U channels. And it will end up here, of which at that time you can process it. You can put it into a bucket, you can put it into a traditional gold pan, knowing that it's been refined down to hopefully the heavier materials. There'll be a little bit of black sand, there'll also be hopefully some specks of gold, and then you start all over again. But trouble in paradise. Oh, hang on. Let's put it back round this way. I've got to see the brand name, FrankenPan. So yeah, there we go. There's your channels. There's your back section, or left and right sections. There is your hacksaw blade holding on to the magnets, your classifier. Now here's the thing. When you're at the river's edge, creek's edge, you've got to fill up that top section with water to swoosh it about, to agitate and get rid of the material to go into the bottom section. So really you need, I don't know, maybe at least a foot of water to really get it going. And keeping in mind you've basically got 1.5 tubs full of water. And I found that to be quite a little bit frustrating, a little bit annoying. I kept having to go out to a deeper section of the creek to make it agitate and get the material down into the bottom section. I did use this pan for the first time on the end of what was a 3-4 day prospecting trip up at Creswick Way, Slaty's Creek. And it is a good creek, it's good fun up there, you meet good people as well, so it's all a good time. So I had a little bit of a sore shoulder to begin with, so I only ended up doing 4 pans. But what I did do is I did the 4 pans in a section where I had got some gold flakes. And out of the 4 pans, going through the method I've just divulged, is the fact that I did get gold in 2 of the 4 pans, which was about what I was getting in a traditional pan. So it did do its job. But as I said, it requires a bit of water, a little bit of strength, a little bit of patience, which I'm not sure all prospectors have. Maybe they do, maybe it's just me. the idea is still sound, and it has occurred to me, whilst it's not that good in water, over the summer months it might actually make for a really good dry pan. So when all these creeks and riverbeds, there's no more winter's rain flowing through them and flooding, there may be sections where you can find the pressure points and what have you, and dig them up and then do some dry panning, because the theory still works. Into the top section, clear out the black sand, classify it through the holes, get it down into the bottom section, tilt the pan, get it, swoosh it about, get it into those channels, the U-shaped channels, turn the material, turn the actual unit vertical, let the excess run to the bottom, clean it out, and then turn it the other way to empty the channels. So I think it's, although I will be making son of FrankenPan at some stage, but I think it still has some merit, the idea. I don't mind sharing it. I'm not trying to make $1 million producing gold pans and what have you, so maybe you'll try one yourself and share your views. So at this point in time I'm going to leave it at that, but it's amazing some of the stuff that you can get at Bunnings to create and make things. So we've got that one there, the channel and the little lip to break things up as the material goes over. Then it gets caught inside there, and once it's vertical it can't come out, and you can, as you can see, you can go back past vertical to clear out the material down the bottom there. So it actually works out pretty good, and I think it will be quite interesting over the coming summer, if we ever get out of lockdown, to try a bit of dry panning. So at this point in time I'll finish it here, and that's FrankenPan.